Andarki Namaskaram, welcome back to Vamsi Bhavani. In this video, we will start a new playlist on prompt engineering. This will in fact be a 10-part series and you will receive 10 videos on prompt engineering. Trust me, there is a lot of content on YouTube about prompt engineering, but all the content is really scattered. You won't find any fixed playlist that you can follow for you to at least take your next steps forward. There is a lot of content on different techniques of prompt engineering here and there, but there is no fixed set of playlists that you can follow. So in this playlist, in this 10 video series, I'll make sure that you learn everything that's required for you to take the next leap into prompt engineering. This is actually my second attempt to teach prompt engineering. I had already taught prompt engineering in Telugu, which has been a huge success. So hope to do the same in English as well. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. If you're new to Vamsi Bhavani, please to subscribe to Vamsi Bhavani English as well. Now, starting with this video, the main agenda for the video is understanding two main things. One is what is prompt engineering? Secondly, and importantly, why should you learn prompt engineering? This is a really important question that you should ask before learning anything, right? Because you have lot of options in 2024. Instead of prompt engineering, you could have learned DevOps, you could have learned full stack development, you could have learned data science, cyber security. There are a lot of fields that you can explore, but why should you choose prompt engineering? So we will primarily focus on these two aspects, and these two aspects will in fact make sure that you follow the rest of the 9 videos, right? Starting with what is prompt engineering. This is relatively a new domain that has come to limelight only after the boom of chatgpt, right? And what is chatgpt? Chatgpt is a generative AI model, that generates answers based on your questions. It's a chat based UI, so people call it ChatGPT. I mean, it was named ChatGPT, but ChatGPT, actually depends on its GPT APIs, GPT models, right? Now, the main aspect of ChatGPT is its generative property. Even before the boom of ChatGPT, there was AI, right? AI has been there for decades. Now, you can call it machine learning again. Today, in 2024, machine learning, deep learning, AI, all of these are interchangeably used, but they are not the same. But keeping that apart for a separate video, if you think about machine learning or deep learning or AI, it has been there here for several decades. In fact, the mathematical models have been actually there for several decades. Now, with generative AI, the biggest shift has been that all the popular models before ChatGPT had all been predictive models, right? So if I say you are a bad listener, I hope you are not, but if you are a bad listener and if I say the statement, there could be a model that says yes, this is a negative statement. If I say you are a great listener, again there could be a model that says it's a positive statement. So it was more about predicting. Now on a high level, all the non-generative AI models are usually, they are trained on data and they try to create segments or divisions based on the trained data, right? But when it comes to generative AI, it is generating new data. So for generative AI, there are two important phases, right? One is the training phase. Again, training is really important because the data with which you train it actually decides how the model will behave. You'll have to make sure that the data that you're training it with is non-biased, right? If you're training it with biased data, the mathematical modeling will make sure that your responses after it's trained are also biased. So training is actually, it plays a crucial role. The second important thing is the input, right? So let's say you're using any of these generative AI tools. It can be text to text, text to image, text to video, text to anything, text to music, text to art. All these require you to give an input, right? Even in ChatGPT, you ask it a question, right? That question that you ask it is an input for the generative AI model that GPT uses, ChatGPT uses, right? Now, this input plays a crucial role because For you, input can be a simple English statement that makes sense, right? But for the model, it is just sequence of few tokens, right? And that sequence of tokens would decide what should be the next set of sequence of tokens that will make sense with this sequence of tokens, right? So your input actually determines the output because your sequence of tokens is actually what is used for to decide or determine the next set of sequence of tokens, which is your output, right? So input actually makes a whole lot of difference when it comes to generative models. Now that's where prompt engineering plays a major role. Now what is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering in simple terms is just making sure that you talk to AI the right way, or prompt engineering is just training humans so that they talk to AI the right way. So prompt engineering is more about how we humans interact with AI models, right? And why is that important? Because I said you that determines the quality of output. That's number one. Number two is actually, even if you start up with a, very bad prompt. Again, what's prompt? Prompt is actually just the input, okay? The input that you give to a, generative AI model, or in general AI model, can be called as a prompt, okay? So even if you start with a really bad prompt, it could take, we'll learn that techniques. It could take set of few more rounds of you giving prompts to it and making the AI model understand what your requirement is. But yeah, that iteration, that repetition of you giving multiple prompts will cost you money, right? Because each of these generative AI models, charge you per token, right? Or the number of invocations that you make to that API which hosts the generative AI model will cost you money. So it's really important for you to get the right response or the required response in as minimum attempts as possible. Number three that makes prompt engineering important is, you'll have to make generative AI responses slightly deterministic for your approach. If your responses are completely non-deterministic, right? If AI model gives you a JSON response in the first attempt and gives you a text file in second attempt, would you be able to programmatically interpret that response? No, right? So for you to actually make sense of that response programmatically, you'll have to bring in some determinism in the responses. Again, for that, prompt engineering plays a major role. Because of all these reasons, the craze for prompt engineering is increasing day by day. Yeah, I mean, you would have heard about those 2 crore jobs, 2 crore rupees salary jobs. You forget about that, it's not about that amount. But yeah, the number of opportunities will surely increase. Now, that brings me to the second point, which is why should you learn prompt engineering? Again, these 3 points were actually why companies are crazy about prompt engineering, right? Now, let's talk about why should you learn prompt engineering. Number one, prompt engineering is evolving, right? When I say that, you rarely get opportunities in your lifetime where you get to learn technologies that are currently in a stage of evolvement, right? Today, at this point in time, there is no fixed set of curriculum or syllabus by learning which you'll become a prompt engineer. It's all about exploring these LLMs and making sure that you are giving input in the right way. So when you get a chance to explore an evolving domain, you learn a lot and you will unlock a lot of opportunities in coming 5 to 10 years, because then it will become a slightly more mature domain. So when it's in evolving phase, it's definitely important or good to learn. Secondly, in terms of the openings, right, let me show you a few numbers. At this point in time when I'm recording the video, I can see about 1k openings for a keyword matching prompt engineering in India. I mean, this is definitely on par with many mature technologies that are core technologies today, right? So definitely the number of opportunities today are quite good, and those opportunities will improve a lot in coming future. And the reason is simple: every company want to experiment with AI. Again, it's more about how would they use or would they use or not, but every company today is trying to do a POC, right? A proof of concept on whether AI would be something that can actually revolutionize their service or product or whatever. So companies are trying with AI. Some of them will actually adopt it, some of them might not, But yeah, it's a growing domain. So the openings today are good and would increase definitely in future. Number 3 is experience. Today, take any core technology that's used in the IT domain, each of it for you to get a good role in a good company would require at least 3 to 4 years of experience, right? But when it comes to prompt engineering, experience is not required because this is itself a relatively new domain. You cannot find a working professional with 5 years of experience in prompt engineering. Even if you find guys with 5 years of experience, they are all research scholars and the experience is research experience. So the working experience would be relatively similar for all of us, for me, for you. So that gives us an edge to actually compete and get into great companies for the role of prompt engineering or prompt engineer. And number 4th, this is something that I personally believe. This could be true, this could be false. I mean, that is just a matter of time that could actually, prove that. Now, what I feel is similar to how Google search is actually a must have skill for everyone in every domain, right? I mean, you might feel it's a trivial job, right? Searching on Google is a trivial job. I feel prompt engineering would become that trivial. People who don't even know to prompt engineer would probably, lack a lot of opportunities in the future. It would be as simple as one other additional skill that will be required in all the domains. It's just a matter of time. Let's see. I mean, I feel these are few points that makes it important for you to learn prompt engineering. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Catch you all in the part 2 of prompt engineering. Thank you all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.